Welcome back to Stab the Dragon Productions for episode number 142 as we continue tonight with our Texas Rye Whiskey Tournament. This is bracket number 2, the Elite 8 second match between Devil's River and Oak&Eden Rahr soaked. In bracket number 1, I was looking for that pure, clean rye flavor, but now in bracket 2, I'm simply looking for which whiskey I prefer the most. And by most, I'm saying 3 out of 5 times. If I had these two whiskeys tonight, which one would I choose 3 times? Now, some Texas whiskeys have a much stronger impact by the climate and impart a very heavy oak and char flavor to the whiskey that I fondly call the Texas Funk, while others are aged in a much more climate-controlled situation and don't have that Texas Funk. I like both kinds of Texas ryes, but they're two very different ryes. So bracket number 2 is going to be the deciding factor in which I like the most. And in case of a tie between these whiskeys, I make a decision based upon price and availability. So these contestants tonight, Devil's River Rye, coming out of San Antonio. But they say on their website or a video by the owner that I watched that a percentage of the water in every bottle comes from the Devil's River, which is in southwest Texas, closer to Del Rio. The bottle says produced and bottled by, right? Where does it say that? Right here. Produced and bottled by Devil's River Distillery. Aged not less than 23 months. So what produced and bottled by means is that this is very likely sourced, and the fact that it does not list an out-of-state source, such as Indiana, which would be MGP, tells me that this is probably sourced from within Texas, and I've heard some say that perhaps Gulf Coast distilleries in Houston might be the original source, but I'm not sure. But also in the video, you know, like I was saying a while ago, part of this water comes from the Devil's River. So, truth in advertising, I mean, the owner, the founder of Devil's River, you know, talked about a early experience he had on the Devil's River down there, how beautiful it was, and what kind of a transforming experience it was. And so he's always had a love for the Devil's River. And so that, you know, they've got to deal with a rancher there. So they physically transport some water in a truck to San Antonio so that each bottle has a little bit of Devil's River in it. But truth in advertising, I don't know. Seems a little bit on the funky side, if you ask me. But nonetheless, it's a good product. All right. An age not less than 23 months, that's actually pretty good age for a Texas whiskey. You know, a lot of people complain about age statements, but in Texas, 23 months is actually a long time. Now, this 750 milliliter bottle cost $25.99 at Total Wine, $27.88 at Specs, and $29.59 at Goody Goody here in Fort Worth. And in the first part of this bracket, the Sweet 16, Devil's River did defeat Oak&Eden, Rye, and Spire. And so tonight it's going against a sister product, Oak&Eden Rahr soaked hopped oak, Rahr & Sons. And Rahr, I need to explain, is a Fort Worth brewery that makes fantastic beers. And in fact, I've got 2 distilleries, or 2 whiskey companies, I should say, because Oak&Eden doesn't really have a distillery, that use or have a connection with Rahr. Acre Distillery has a connection with Rahr as well. So that's Devil's River Rye. Oak&Eden Rye and Rahr. So this is rye whiskey finished with an Indian Pale Ale soaked oak spiral. All right, and you can look in there and see that oak spiral, perhaps. If I get it just right, you can see that. There it is. So, you know, it's a complex name. Oak&Eden, Rahr soaked hopped oak. Rye with Rahr & Sons. That's Rahr & Sons Spire finish. And this says bottled by Sanctified Spirits, Louisville, Texas. So Oak&Eden's headquarters is in Bridgeport, Texas, 30 miles to my west. But their bottling operation is in Louisville, which is 30 miles to my east. And I'm halfway in between. They don't have a distillery. They don't have plans for a distillery that I know of. They source all their whiskeys and specialize in finishing the whiskeys in the bottle with these oak spiral cut spires. And their various whiskeys do lots of different things with those oak spirals. So they're smoked, they're charred, they're soaked in other things. You know, they got a coffee one I've not had, I'd like to have. So I think it's a genius idea, really, because it finishes the whiskey in the bottle. And I've watched a video where it shows the raw whiskey that they get from whatever distillery they're sourcing. And then they put the spire in, and it shows it week 1, 2, 3, 4, so on. And it's really amazing to watch that. So I think it's a great idea. I've got at least 3, maybe 4 Oak&Eden products, and I like them all. They're very good products. But this one, sad to say, I think it may be a ghost whiskey now. I don't think they're producing it anymore. I haven't seen it in the stores, haven't seen it on their website. And the initial release was strictly regional, because Rahr & Sons is a regional beer. You know, it's local. So that's a shame if they don't make it anymore, because this is really good. This is, in fact, my favored to win tonight in this race. Okay. Coming in at 90 proof. Both these whiskeys are 90 proof. Don't have an age statement on here, you know, and so I really, you know, couldn't tell you how old this is, but you know, this is probably coming from Indiana. Although, again, here on the bottle, you know, it really doesn't say. You just got that bottled by. It says this rye whiskey is infused with an American oak Rahr & Sons Dadgum IPA soaked spire. So it doesn't really tell you where this is distilled. But I think it's MGP. There you go. And dollar amount for this bottle, when I bought it, I don't know, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, $45, I think, somewhere in there. In the first round of Bracket 2, this whiskey beat Yellow Rose Rye. Okay, so let's compare the bottles. This is a flask style bottle, and it's got some pretty scenery on there, a nice bold classy label, although it takes up most of the bottle. But you can still see enough of the liquid in there to get an idea. So really, I find that bottle very attractive. The Oak&Eden bottle is somewhat massive. I mean, this is a big, beefy bottle. It's got some embossing down here, Oak&Eden. It's got on the back their symbol here, which I wish I knew what that meant, but it's got an upside down hand with rays coming across out from under it. The label here is imprinted on the bottle, and it's kind of a classy touch there. And then a nice, you know, both these bottles are very attractive in their own way. So I'm going to give it a tie as far as how the bottles look. Let's look at the whiskey in the glasses. Now I did mix these up, but I'm real sure that this is the Oak&Eden because it is a little bit, it's a half shade darker than this one. So I think this is Devil's River. If it is, it should have a number 1 on the bottom, and this one should have a number 2 on the bottom. But you can see there's a clear difference between the colors there. So yeah, I mixed them up, but I'm 90% sure this is the Oak&Eden. So I tend to go with darker looking whiskeys anyway. So visual appearance, I'm going to give Oak&Eden the advantage. So let's go with the nosing. I get a little bit of the whiskey alcohol thing on this one. Hints of the rye. No Texas funk at all. A little bit sweet on the nose. So not a real strong nose, but my nose is not the best anyway. This one I don't get the alcohol burn really. Sweetness, but again, kind of a little bit weak on the rye smell. So again, neither whiskey comes across with a real strong, nice rye smell, either one. So about a tie on the nose. Both of them with a little bit of a weak nose. All right, so I'm going to start with this one on the left that I think is Devil's River, and so it should have a number 1 on the bottom. And that is a very pleasant whiskey. It's got an appropriate rye tingle. It's not a strong burner, but this does what rye should do. It's got sparkly notes on there, a little bit of rye flavor, some sweetness. There may have been just the tiniest hint of a Texas funk on that, which I'm halfway through this bottle, and that's the first time I've really picked up on that. Let me try that again. That was actually outstanding. Yeah, I'm getting some of the rye flavor, maybe some sweet butterscotch, a little bit of caramel. That's an easy sipper, and I think that would work great in a cocktail. The 90 proof is there, so it's not weak, but it is smooth, but with enough sparkle, enough brightness there that I like in a rye. So you know that's a very nice rye, but just not really any noticeable, I mean, maybe the tiniest bit of Texas funk. Let me clean my palate real quick with Topo Chico. All right, now this one should have a number 2 on the bottom. I think it's Oak&Eden. We'll see. I'm going to need to rinse my palate one more time. So I'm still getting a little tingle from that first one. Okay, now we're ready for number 2. That is smoother, not as sparkly, stronger on the rye flavor. Definitely. Getting a good dose of that rye spice, and no sparkles like the Devil's River. And I think I'm picking up on the Rahr IPA, the hops, a little bit of fruitiness in the background. Hops come across to me as grapefruit, and there's just a hint of that, which combines very nicely with the rye spice. See, that's why, I mean, this one is amazing. I haven't hit this one very often. I mean, you can look at that. I mean, I haven't gone down much on that at all. I've had this for at least 3 years. Devil's River I've just gotten the last year, and it's halfway done. Man, this is going to be a hard call, because I like them for different reasons, you know. And that's one of the hard things about this competition. I haven't had any bad whiskeys in this competition. I like them for different things. So if this is in fact Devil's River, it's got some sparkles to it. I mean, it's smooth, but there's peppery notes that is what initially attracted me to rye whiskeys. It's also smooth, but it's got the peppery notes and just a hint of the rye flavor. Whereas the Oak&Eden Oak&Eden's got a better mouthfeel, stronger rye spice, that hint of hops. Wow, this is going to be incredibly hard. And see, here's the deal. Neither one of these has got the Texas funk. And so far in bracket 2, the whiskeys with the Texas funk have tended to be the winners. Here I've got 2 whiskeys. Neither of them has the Texas funk. They're both ryes, but I'm thinking this one's got the most rye flavor and a little bit of that hops flavor. Better mouthfeel, a little bit richer mouthfeel. Dang, this is close. All right, if I declare a tie, that's pretty lame. So I think I'm gonna go with the Oak&Eden for the win. And in some ways, well, I'm assuming that this is number 2. Let me look under here. Yes, this is in fact number 2. So that is Oak&Eden. And again, it's an import, it's a sourced whiskey. And so it's an almost Texas whiskey. It's a wannabe Texas whiskey, but it's a Texas whiskey company. So I guess that'll work. But man, that's really close. I'm gonna stick with Oak&Eden for the win. So that's how things shook out tonight. So what's coming up next time? Next time we're going to be comparing Ranger Creek 44 with Acre Rye and Rum. So that'll be an Acre Rye and Rum. That's a single barrel and only available at the distillery, but Ranger Creek 44 is widely distributed. So that's what's up for next week. For now, though, here's your winner, Oak&Eden. All right, this is StabtheDragon out here.